Hate watching. Gotta be my favorite hobby. I'm sorry, it just is. There's nothing more beautiful than sitting down, turning on a team I absolutely despise, and watching them get decimated. On the flip side, there's almost nothing I hate more than a failed hate watch. Seeing the success of my personal enemies makes me sick to my stomach. Everybody got an athlete or a team that they hate. Literally everybody. It might just be a personal thing for some people, or it might be a general thing. There's a lot of players that everybody doesn't like. The point is, across every sport, there's villains. There's the likable ones, there's guys you love to hate, and then there's guys you actually despise, like with everything in you. I've been a sports fan since I was like 4 years old, even though I haven't been a football fan for as long as I was a basketball and American football fan. I picked the Knicks at the ripe age of 4 years, 6 months old, and it's been downhill ever since. From my experience, though, I'm always most engaged when I not only have a team to support, but when I also have a team to hate. It fuels me. It gives me one more reason to turn on that TV. You ask any sports fan, and they probably agree that they feel that way about certain teams or players. Players that are widely despised are, of course, the ones that are considered the villains. Usually, though, they fit into at least one of 10 categories. Let's go through each one. First, there's the weirdo. This guy is just strange, always doing some weird, inexplicable shit. The range of the unusual behavior is wide. It can be anything from odd little things to actual what the fuck kind of stuff. Luis Suarez is probably the biggest suspect here. This dude was always tweaking. Resorting to cannibalism on 3 separate occasions is crazy. The first time it's like, okay, maybe he was just having a bad day. The second time, bro, you might have a problem. The third time, you need a muzzle. That wasn't even it, though. He was out there calling people slurs, pulling people's hair. He was a professional dickhead. This dude bit somebody in their flop like his tooth was hurt. Very unserious guy. Then, of course, there's the infamous handball that pretty much made him Hitler in Ghana. Dennis Rodman was another one that was a little strange. I guess he was more of a villain because of his arguably dirty play, but he also got a lot of dislike for his questionable acts throughout the 90s. Wearing a wedding dress, wearing crop top blouses and makeup and shit. You know how a lot of guys feel about that. He was definitely not popular with your average guy in America. This dude once did a radio interview while getting head. He definitely isn't all there upstairs. I wish he played in the social media era. It would have been hilarious. Second, there's the cult villain. This guy is hated mainly by a specific group of fans, usually for cooking their team. Sometimes it can be because of one specific moment, sometimes it can be because of many. KDB against us is one example of this. The way he started acting up against Arsenal, you would think it was Arteta that stole his girlfriend. He has 13 goal contributions in 20 games against us, and it got worse last season where he posterized us at the Emirates in the heat of the title race and then 360 windmilled on our dome back at the Etihad to seal the deal in April. I have a deep and genuine hatred for this guy. Obviously, the same goes for both sides of the Real Madrid and Barcelona rivalry when it comes to Ronaldo and Messi. Both fan bases generally dislike the other team's superstar, especially Madrid fans when it comes to Messi. The guy has 40 goal contributions against them in under 50 games. He took so many league titles from them in the 2010s. I wouldn't like the guy either. Third is sort of similar to the cult villain, but they're not exactly the same. The Traitor. This guy is despised for betraying the trust of a franchise and dipping on them. It's not always just because they left, though. A lot of the time it's specifically because of who they joined, too. We were just talking about this a few videos ago. Rob Van Persie was in the prime of his career, and he just dropped 30 league goals for Arsenal before he snaked them and joined United. Mind you, the club has stood beside him with all his injury issues and shit. Yet first chance you get, you over there slutting yourself out for United. Mind you, again, Arsenal and United had the biggest English rivalry of the century up to that point. City had just started popping their pussy for real. It was like 2011. Chelsea was up there, sure, but from the end of the 90s to 2012, Arsenal and United were the main ones going at it for real, with Chelsea joining in around 2005-ish. Then to make it all worse on top of that, he helped them win a league title in his first season there. Suck my dick. Luis Figo is largely remembered as the biggest traitor ever for that move to Madrid from Barcelona. Not gonna lie, he bold for that. They did not let him breathe when he came back to the camp now. That has a very good case for most hostile atmosphere in sports history. You go back and watch the videos and the noise is eardrum shattering. Throwing a peghead on the field? Is that not crazy? Like, what the fuck? They was not messing around. Figo was a strong dude, especially mentally. Words are everything I love. Somebody throw a peghead at me, I'm going home. If you want a basketball example, there's the infamous Kevin Durant incident of 2016. He had just blown a 3-1 lead to the Warriors with the Thunder in the conference finals, and right after that, in the same summer, he left the Thunder to join the Warriors, who had just won 73-9, the best record in NBA history. He's still called the Snake to this day. Fourth is the winner. This guy gets hated for their ridiculous amount of success. Obviously, if you're a fan of a bum-ass team, you're going to get irritated that the same team or the same player is winning over and over. Same if you're a team that's constantly coming in second place to them. Ronaldo fits into this category with his 5 UCLs. He won so much that, let's be real, a good amount of the people that hate him are just tired of it. Tom Brady has the most Super Bowl rings of any player in the history of the league, and with him plowing the Jets twice a year, best believe I was one of the people that hated on him because he was winning, and he wouldn't stop. It was irritating. Literally everybody was sick of the Warriors not too long ago with their 3 rings within 4 years and 5 straight NBA Finals appearances total. They only didn't win 5 straight because of LeBron and Kyrie pulling off some nut shit in 2016 and KD getting hurt in 2019. The 5th category is the Crashout. You can always count on these motherfuckers to do some dirty, violent shit. They're not good people when they're out there on the field or the court. This is probably the category with the most players just because it's the easiest way to get fans to hate you. Nobody likes a dirty player. Sergio Ramos got away with a murder for years playing for Madrid, and even with the leeway he sometimes received, he still has like 30 red cards and around, 250 yellow cards or so? He had Barca fans hot for years. They hated that man. Same with his evil twin Pepe. They used to go out there and aim for vital ligaments. There's Draymond too. Ramos and Draymond are just alike. They're both crucial pieces of an all-time great dynasty, but they definitely got a screw loose. There's also the whole kicking people in the nuts thing, and even Warriors fans don't like him anymore because he pretty much drove KD away from Golden State. Joey Barton also fits here, but he's definitely a tier above everybody else because this dude was a terror. It's not unheard of to scrap with your teammates, but beating him so bad that he physically disfigured him is crazy. He also stabbed another player in the eye with a lit cigar, which is actually just Batman villain activities. He got locked up for assault and shit. He's genuinely just a tweak, bro. He got anger issues. There's the bad boy Pistons, famous for their shameless fouls and rough style of play. I wasn't alive for them, but the consensus was that they were heavily disliked, especially by Bulls fans. There's no question they were the villains at that time. They delayed MJ getting any rings for a good while, and MJ was the golden boy. The 6th category is the cheater. There's a lot of players and teams that have been accused of cheating, and whether it's been confirmed or not, they pretty much get hated regardless. Look at Manchester City, for example. They haven't even been found guilty of the 115 charges that constantly get brought up, and a lot of people don't even know what the specific charges are. Shit, I ain't complaining or anything. Any City hate is good hate in my book, so keep up the good work, y'all. The Patriots have allegedly got caught cheating a couple different times, actually. There was Spygate in 2007, which wasn't really all that serious because I'm pretty sure the Jets got caught doing the same thing to the Patriots the year before, and teams are allowed to steal signals from other teams anyway, just not from certain angles. It's silly as fuck. The Deflategate scandal is much more popular, but funnily enough, there wasn't even enough good evidence for that one, and it ended up looking more like a smear campaign because the details and narrative kept changing. In fact, the Colts actually had a deflated bull too, and only 4 of their bulls got tested to the Patriots 11. Once again, though, the general fan didn't actually care about the investigation and just jumped on the Brady Patriots hate train even further, which was honestly fine by me. He torched the Jets for years, and I was honestly just glad he was going to be suspended for 4 games. The 7th category is the flopper. This one is more popular in football and basketball. Flopping has become an extreme epidemic in basketball, and it's gotten worse over the years. But in football, diving has been common for years. Nowadays, I say the player most hated for diving is probably Bruno. It's the complaining to the referee that makes it worse, too. He's always crying. It's annoying as hell. Neymar got a lot of hate for diving over the years to the point that he's almost universally thought of as a flopper. But if we're being real, he does get hacked way more than your average player, and his injury record definitely supports that. In basketball, there's Embiid. His knees are literally made of cotton candy, and that's part of the reason he goes down so easily. But it gets kind of comical at some points because he's too damn big to be throwing himself on the ground at the slightest contact. It's lame as hell and bad for the sport. The 8th category is the trash talker. I'm not gonna lie, these are one of my favorites. Jose Mourinho be talking his shit. It's made a lot of people hate him, but it's made a lot of people love him too. He's one of those guys that you just gotta respect, even if you think he's a dickhead. Patrick Beverley actually is a self-proclaimed dickhead, and he just doesn't care. He's just a hilarious guy. So many people find him annoying, but he's a solid defender and one of the best role players of this generation. Let him have his fun. American football cornerbacks are some of the biggest trash talkers in sports, which is honestly crazy because they're probably the easiest ones for this to backfire on. Once you get burnt, it's raps. Nobody's ever letting it go. Richard Sherman and Josh Norman in their prom, though, don't let them lock you up because you never hear the end of it. The 9th category is the failure. Players hated by their own fan base for letting them down. Off the dome, the first player that comes to mind is David Beckham. He was absolutely dogged in England for a good minute after that red card in the World Cup. That got to be one of the harshest longest stretches of pure hate in football history. There's also Carriers and Liverpool fans. From what I've seen, Liverpool fans either despise him for his dismal performance on the biggest stage in European football or feel bad for him because it pretty much ruined his career. The last category is the actual criminals. You could argue that some of them shouldn't even be allowed back on the field, I'm not gonna lie. Literally just yesterday, there was the whole thing with Bellingham calling Greenwood a rapist. Allegedly, Getafe reported him for it, which is somehow lamer than signing a rapist in the first place, actually. Partey is heavily disliked across the football world for his rape allegations as well. Every time he touches the ball in an away stadium, he gets serenaded with boos. There's the domestic abusers, Tyreek Hill, for example. John Jones is another. Jones is a completely different animal. That man has a lot going on mentally. Deshaun Watson is a creep and a weirdo, and they let him back in the NFL. Then there's Karl Malone, who quite literally impregnated a 13-year-old as a 20-year-old man, and the NBA just tries to act like it never happened. Those 10 categories make up the people we see as villains in the sports world. However, there's also people who try to be villains and kind of failed. Dylan Brooks wanted to be the bad guy so bad, but it just didn't work out because he was corny as hell, and he also played like shit in the playoffs and pretty much got humiliated off the Grizzlies. You can't be trash and try to be the antagonist guy, then you're just going to look corny. In my opinion, being a villain has kind of become a lost art. Obviously, there's still guys out there like Draymond and shit, but social media has kind of led to increased sensitivity in players. A lot of the guys who try to be villains can't handle the backlash because there's so much of it and it's so direct in the social media era with things like comments and DMs. Players already get dragged to hell and back across the internet for poor performances here or there. Trying to be a villain in this era is just so much extra pressure that most people can't handle. There's also the fact that nowadays people take it too far. Instead of leaving it on the field, they make it too personal. I don't see a problem when you're dealing with actual criminals, but attacking players' families online because they play for a rival or something is just shameful. It's unfortunate because villains make sports exciting. Sure, they might crush the spirits of your favorite team and cause you unbelievable amounts of pain and misery, but those emotions are what make sports. It would be so much more boring without it. If you're still watching, let me know who your favorite villain in the history of sports is or what your favorite kind of villain is in the comments. I'm kind of interested. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'm going to see y'all next time.